working in Hollywood today. So it should come as no surprise that a book purporting to tell all is coming out. What may be a bit of a shock is that the author is Jodie's brother. He spoke with our Scott Rappaport.
She is that rarest of Hollywood treasures.
I've just been so lucky.
A star adored by both fans and critics alike.
Thank you very much.
She's a very special woman.
Yet at age 34, Jodie Foster, a two-time Oscar winner, top-flight director, and Hollywood power broker, is an intensely private person who never talks publicly about her personal life.
There are two sides of me that are sometimes in tempestuous conflict.
So what's the private Jodie Foster really like?
She's changed a lot in the last few years. You know, she started watching Beavis and Butthead. And
Jodie Foster watches Beavis and Butthead?
Sure.
Cool. This is Buddy Foster, former child star on the old TV show Mayberry RFD.
Boy, you're a good businessman.
And today, author of Foster Child, a new book promising the inside story of Jodie's life and rise from child star to superstar.
This is Jodie Foster's roots.
Come on, you.
Buddy Foster, a construction contractor now living with his third wife in Duluth, Minnesota, says he has not spoken to Jodie in 2 years, ever since she found out he was writing the book. But the story, he says, is based on their on and off again lifelong relationship prior, and quite a story it is. Born in November of 1962, Jodie was the fourth child of Lucius and Brandy Foster. It was not, says Buddy, your Ozzie and Harriet type of family.
No, I used to characterize it as the Addams family.
Something he says Jodie would concede during a conversation years later.
Jodie snapped and said, "We don't have a normal family. We never will have a normal family. We didn't have a normal family, so get over it and grow up, buddy."
Buddy cites an incident he says took place when he was 5 years old and his mother was still pregnant with Jodie. According to Buddy, Lucius and Brandy, who were separated and in the process of a divorce, were having a terrible fight. And then he says something happened he will never forget.
Directly off the living room came a woman out of my mother's bedroom to the right of me. And she was naked with just a white towel wrapped around her up to here. And she was holding a gun that looked like a big .45 to me. She came in and held the gun up to my father's head and said, "Get the out of here."
The woman, he says, was his mother's friend, Josephine Dominguez Hill. And though Lucius Foster says that incident didn't happen, Buddy says Aunt Jo, as they called her, would move in with Brandy Foster that day. And through the years together, the two women would raise Buddy and Jodie Foster, who even as a child was remarkably mature.
She learned to walk. She was probably already only 6 months old. She learned to read by the time she was a year. She was very, very bright and gifted. Her thirst for knowledge was just remarkable. Questions, what, why, how come? And she'd remember everything you told her.
Her enthusiasm and intellect would make her a child star, debuting at age 3 in this Coppertone TV ad, and moving on to a string of major motion pictures.
You looking for some action?
Yeah.
Including her starring role at the age of 12 as a teenage hooker in the movie Taxi Driver, for which she would receive an Oscar nomination and work with Robert De Niro.
Are you really 12 and a half?
By the age of 17, a happy Jodie Foster, seen here in this television interview, was heading off to Yale and enjoying the fruits of her acting career. Her life seemed perfect.
I get to go places that most kids don't get to go to and meet people, and I'm respected.
But soon her life would change. John Hinckley put an end to any attempt Jodie Foster would have at a normal life. In 1981, he tried to kill President Reagan in an attempt to get recognition from the object of his obsessive love, Jodie Foster.
How did this affect her?
I know that emotionally, it was so difficult for her that she almost felt like there was more she could have done before it happened. She felt kind of to blame, or at least a little bit to blame, because maybe she didn't send enough of the letters to the FBI. Maybe she didn't insist that they do something about this guy that was sending these very strange letters and very strange phone calls to her dorm.
From then on, says Buddy, Jodie adopted the security-conscious private lifestyle she is known for today.
Why don't you look at yourself and write down what you see? Maybe you're afraid to.
Oscar-winning performances in The Silence of the Lambs and The Accused, coupled with directorial triumphs, have created an insatiable curiosity about the publicity-shy star, resulting in all sorts of rumors, including the most controversial of all.
What's the question you hear most about Jodie?
Is your sister a lesbian? Is the biggest.
It's an issue he addresses prominently in his book, but a question he has never asked her.
I've never seen Jodie in bed with anyone, so I can't answer it and say she's heterosexual, she's bisexual, she's homosexual, because I haven't seen it.
Still, in writing Foster Child, he has shown no compunctions about making his sister's life an open book.
Being that she is so very private, do you feel you're violating her privacy by writing this book?
I don't think so at all. It's my opinion. I'm just saying how I feel.
Jodie's response to the book, he thinks, will be typical Jodie.
She won't comment. She won't say, oh, it was a great book. She won't say, how could you have effing done that? That's not Jodie. Jodie stands middle ground.
Well, Foster is right on that score. Jodie's publicist says the actress hasn't seen the book and doesn't respond to people who want to write books about her.